Okay, so we're going to get started on who John Locke was. John Locke was a 17th century British physician and philosopher. So at the time, they had just been recovering from three consecutive revolutionary wars within Britain. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to the next slide when we talk about his philosophies. So, as part of those philosophies, though, his philosophies came out of why it is important politically for people to be united in how they think. And a lot of that also has to do with these wars that had happened, because the wars really revolved around the different philosophies and political convictions and religion. It was all of these things that were together that really caused these wars to happen. And as part of a country that was starting to rebuild itself, they were looking at different types of philosophies and how to rebuild and what it really means to be a citizen. And that's really where he got his feet wet with starting to think about how to become a citizen. And that began to impact all sorts of people across the world. And one of the things that he came up with was a very famous philosophy called tabula rasa. So tabula rasa really just means a blank slate. And that is applied to educational philosophy because we are always thinking about, well, how are children a blank slate? And it really came out of the idea of rebuilding his country as a blank slate. How can we go ahead and create what we want in our society? And a lot of that led to education. And we're going to learn a little bit more about that in our next slide. But in the meantime, I wanted to let you know that there are some really cool aspects in the United States that represent and reflect Lockean ideologies. So, for example, our Constitution is written with words that came directly from his philosophies, having to do with the pursuit of happiness, which is really the pursuit of truth in his mind, because truth leads to happiness. And he also had a big impact, obviously, on education, which we will continue to talk about on the next slide. But he also had a huge impact today in 2024 still on how the United States runs their intelligence programs. So they continue to talk about what it means to be a citizen, and all of that is based on John Locke's ideology. All right, let's continue.